Zaya.
Yes, it is.
She never thought she could live this life as far as she has, thinking day by day as she remembers her past. 1, 2, 3 changes that she takes, for every man and promise she makes. She hurts and hurts, but she loves so well. She walks around with a smile every day, knowing her heart has swelled. Room, something she has no longer. She thinks every day of her life is over yonder. She has a breakup heart, but she has one destiny. The person she needed all her life is already her bestie. Every time your name comes across her screen, her heart skips a beat, but then she realizes just, what's up, bestie? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but she just wants you guys to be more. And I know she can't be with you because where she is now. She looks at her arms and sees the purple marks. She looks in the mirror and sees the purple circles around her eyes. She looks at her legs and sees the purple bruises. She looks at her mouth and sees her frown. She didn't know he would. Maybe he should have. But if she could just leave, she can't because she loves him. But if she's with you, she can love herself. She's so in love with you, she can't take it anymore. She thought about it and realized she's only holding back because of the way she's been treated. I know you won't treat her like that, but she just can't tolerate or even wish to be with someone as bad as you. Maybe her own mind is a menace to true love.
Yes, it is.
She never thought she could live this life as far as she has, thinking day by day as she remembers her past. 1, 2, 3 changes that she takes, for every man and promise she makes. She hurts and hurts, but she loves so well. She walks around with a smile every day, knowing her heart has swelled. Room, something she has no longer. She thinks every day of her life is over yonder. She has a breakup heart, but she has one destiny. The person she needed all her life is already her bestie. Every time your name comes across her screen, her heart skips a beat, but then she realizes just, what's up, bestie? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but she just wants you guys to be more. And I know she can't be with you because where she is now. She looks at her arms and sees the purple marks. She looks in the mirror and sees the purple circles around her eyes. She looks at her legs and sees the purple bruises. She looks at her mouth and sees her frown. She didn't know he would. Maybe he should have. But if she could just leave, she can't because she loves him. But if she's with you, she can love herself. She's so in love with you, she can't take it anymore. She thought about it and realized she's only holding back because of the way she's been treated. I know you won't treat her like that, but she just can't tolerate or even wish to be with someone as bad as you. Maybe her own mind is a menace to true love.
Suddenly I remembered everything that I was, everything that I am, spending countless hours forgetting who I was, bending backwards, forgetting who you were. And an hour after hour encounter was when I went numb, in love with a false religion, on my knees but never praying. Yet I tried to understand the words you never said, and you, the words that I was saying. I just wanted to be like you, and I just wanted you to fix me. I made the mistake that you could heal me. Hands touch holy water, burned by your poison. Sometimes you can heal. And I should have prayed you less. I should have loved you more. And then this one is called Words. Only words bleed, so when you hurt me, it's like ink to paper. Watch as they bleed through. Bleed red, bleed black, it's back. Those feelings I thought I gave up, I locked them away in a diary. Now they've exploded. Hot like ice and it's fiery, it's tiring. Trying to stop the bleeding, but there's so much writing. And it's if the paper and pen aren't working together, but fighting. And I'm hurting, and you're hurting, but only the words bleed. I'm acting wounded, but that's how you see me. My scars are a part of me. The healing has just begun. Once you stop looking at me like a wounded animal, I can stop acting like one. Bare fur skin and ink, heavy paper, helping hand, stand tall as I sink. Words against paper, let the ink bleed through the pages, experience skin like pen to paper, war is waging in its minimum.
The first is, it's kind of silly, it's called Lumpy. A frog can hop around all day, a toad can sing all night. As hard as I might try, though, I never get it right. And then the second is called Stop. A woman talks. She talks about children and love and poverty, the caring thoughts that should be passed down so far that each person acts upon the details. But what do you focus on? What can you say about the issues laid before you? You focus on the way she gestures when she talks, or the way her hips move when she walks, and so I speak to you, a woman, to just stop.
This is called A Flame Ran Out. Believe it or not, life's like a flame. You do things to keep the fire burning, adding sticks to keep the fire churning, until one day it decides to rain. A flame ran out. Now who's to blame? You can't breathe through all the smoke. You can't see through all the smoke. Your eyes are burning and your heart is hurting. The fire is no longer burning. You search for a sign, but signs are hard to find. With tears in your eyes, you're losing this fight. The sky is cloudy, gray skies cover the light. Lonely nights are only the start of your fight. Your friends surround you, but you can't help but feel lonely. You're ready to face the enemy, but what you don't know, the rain isn't putting out the fire. The enemy is you. The fight is within yourself. Life isn't what you go through. Life is what you make it. So don't prepare to face it. Prepare to face yourself. Prepare to tell yourself you don't need him or her. Prepare to tell yourself you can keep going. Prepare to be able to let go. Prepare to be able to deal with your problems. Prepare to be able to appreciate what you have before it's gone. Stop making life the villain. You're the villain. You thinking you have it bad, but others have it worse. Life is like a flame. If you let it rain, you will put out the flame. A flame right now. I think the fire alarms are going off.
So I feel like I should also say that I'm okay. It's a phone call purpose. I think my biggest fear lies deep within, but on the surface. I'm scared of losing ones I love because I'm scared I'll lose purpose. He's living a life without me. He might as well be dead, only existing to please his friends. I'll kill myself if it benefits them. Content with death but scared of being misled. Terrified of the idea that I'll do it for my friends. They give me a purpose. Life isn't worth living if all we do is exist, because I find comfort in other people, almost complete bliss. It's a hard pill to swallow, a dry pot of land. Can't sprout new seeds if the ground's as dry as sand. And you can't force relationships, push through the problems, toss them under the rug and get used to feeling numb. Withstanding the abuse and mistaking it for love, thinking that the pain will replace a gun. A click and a shot is all it takes. Simple mechanism, good consequence. I'll do it for my friends.
So I wrote this poem for class, but I wrote about child abuse. So it's called Rock. At such a young age, I was ripped away from the place that I lived from day to day, living in fear of causing a wreck, so she always was taught to keep her mouth shut. At such a young age, I watched myself decay, nothing but a sunken ship far from bay. Her colors faded to gray, lifeless and dull because she was too scared to fall. At such a young age, the innocence I lost was stolen from me without a cost. You always snap and say she acts like she's grown, but to her that's all she'd ever known. At such a young age, I skipped under clay, trying to get away from you. Watching as she drifted away, a balloon with no weight, set free to her, it may seem she was your bait. At such a young age, a life lost to another abuser's handling.
One word, she could tell you what you were, not what you wanted to be. Her melanin skin drew for sophistication. Her curly hair was made to perfection. She was what it meant to make America great again. She was what they meant by love can heal the world. She spoke with truth and madness with her lips. Her love was one of a kind. If you dared to step close, you could feel the pain that she had. She was a secret fountain, more like a secret weapon. She was Queen Bee, the mercenary from the roughest part of hell, ready to take down anyone that didn't believe in her goals. She was a real savage. That real savage is me.
This poem is titled As Much. As much as I want to say, it's forbidden, unforgiven, good riddance, goodbye. The wind beneath my shirt, the sun upon my skin, the light in my eyes, all of this and more is what you mean to me. The song that dances on my tongue is what you are. Should I sing? A piano I shouldn't play, a note I shouldn't whistle, yet the melody rings in my head, and as much as I want to say, I sing it instead. The birds chirp in the morning, the incandescent moonlight at night, all of this and more is what you mean to me. Every fiber in my body, every breath that I take, every heart that breaks, every smile I fake, every day I think about just how much I want to say, but I cannot. I have before, but never again. You'd never understand, forever reprimand how much I could mean to you. Yet, no matter how many times I think and pray and hope and wish a gift, a shift, a farewell could be enough. To you, I'll never mean as much. And this one is called Unrequited Love. Minute after minute, we stood in emptiness. A sad chord hung in the air, its melancholy melody ringing in the dark. I waited. Hour after hour, the secrets began to pour out like water to a faucet. Drip drop, still waiting. Day after day, the silence lingered, peeling at me like children's hands to an orange, strange fruit, sweet fruit, pure innocence. Wait. Week and yet another week had gone by. The tears from my eyes grew stronger, steadier. I waited. I offered something unconditional, uncomfortable, unconquerable, something that simply can't be turned away. Or so I thought. And you offered me silence. Minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, I waited. And all that you offered was silence. Yet, in the silence, I found my answer.
Rain. I look down upon your crowds, your buildings, your towns. I look down and I see you talking, you free. Soon enough I fall and put your arms, your legs, you all, and then I let you drink. But that's all there is, I think. And this one also has a subject of rain. Rain keeps knocking on my window. It flips, it flops, it pours. Rain is knocking on my window for me to open the door. As I walk to my lovely clear window, I hear a frightening sound. It's not rain that knocks at my window. What it is, I don't know, but it pounds.
I did not write this poem. This poem is called It Just Is by Alina. I'm going to perform it. I am retreating into myself. What a lonely place to be. Deep within me are safe doubts and familiar enemies. I know them all too well. I keep going back to them. They're dark as poison, venomous, toxic relief. I keep going back to the same place. Cold as corpse, dead and lifeless. Comforting nonetheless. It's a pain I cannot resist, like self-mutilation. Is it self-pity? No, it's self-suffocation. Why do I do this to myself? I place myself in poor situations, and then I hate myself for it. I crawl back into my mind where I beat myself up for being myself. I kick me down, I beat me up, and defeat myself unintentionally. Do you think I could ever again love myself, or is it too late for me? I would like to welcome to the stage Alina Howard. Thank you.
My name is Alina. I graduated here in 2016, so I'm happy to be back. I'll be doing a collection of poems, but kind of to give you some background
So I go to Penn State and I study global journalism, but I also study Italian language and Italian studies. You can see a lot of that literature through my work. So my first poem is called To Lucia from the Woods, and Lucia is the patron saint of the poet. And Dante, who I had to study a lot this past semester, really called on her throughout his work. So this poem is as if he was saying prayer to her. Upon the journey I found myself, for the pathway had been lost. How hard it is to say which renews the fear. So full was I of slumber, had I looked, and I beheld upon me so much heaviness that from her. He who willingly acquires the time and weep in all his thoughts, a poet, is to be made. Now art thou to spread abroad so wide a river of speech, that thou art alone the beautiful style that has done honor to me. Behold, for I have turned back. Do thou protect me, for thou make my veins and pulses tremble. Thee behooves the savage place, though wouldest suffer to whom. Then if thou wishest to ascend, a soul shall be more worthy with he, because that poet by the same God made escape. Bloody, burnt out, numbness spreading, it had begun. The options, home, hospital, hurt, it was strange. Floated behind and able to speak, and I think I'm dying, she told us. I don't know what any of this means. Feeding words into throats. Scabs are beginning to form over the flesh rubbed raw, fixating more and more on skin. I wonder whether anything is different. Tears continue to fall no matter how many times I cupped my palms over eyelids. No matter how many times I tried to hold the water back crying, I keep glancing over, but somehow suffering doesn't seem out of place in a room covered in clumps of its past. I'm covered in clumps of my past, scabbed wounds. I look like a piece of art, don't I? All this story to tell, and yet your interpretation is off anyway. The interpretation is always off anyway. I don't remember the last time they said my name correctly. My voice is still raw from correction, name bloody and blue. This name has ruined me, becoming a killing word spit out of my mouth like spears. I screamed as loud as I could, but the only thing coming out of my mouth was smoke. My body's angles and the options don't seem to make sense anymore. Home, hospital, hurt, all places that have somehow ruined me. Becoming a killing word that only seems capable of ending me. My name has only been capable of ending me. Dear white Jesus, I think it's time you come clean with the whole Savior thing. Historical accuracy call, and it charges you for identity theft. I bet you don't see color. It's just a coincidence all your angels white too. Dear white Jesus, how does it feel to colonize the image of God? To be savior of so many colored souls so unlike you? You label my complexion of curse. How do I wash my skin of its impurities? Is your holy water available in the color fountain, dear white Jesus? Do you feel left out when someone brings up black Jesus? Do you think this blasphemous? Is this the time when all gods matter? And I always wonder, do we bleed the same? Does your blonde and blue signify your righteousness? Like your blood got white boy privilege to be sacrificed and communion. Is having white savior complex to be Christ-like, dear white Jesus? How many religions have you gentrified? Do your missionaries boast of the ability to clean up a country? Like a product that gets that black out of your spirituality, how many sanctuaries burned for you? When you asked your father, why has he forsaken you, were you trying to empathize with blackness? Empathize with how many of us died to be born and born again, but ain't that history? Ain't that repetition? Ain't I a savior just like you, spilling ourselves to cleanse the world of its sins cleansed by this black blood? Ain't that why the world be vampire? It just want to be saved. Figure if you so not holy, you go to heaven, white Jesus. You know we was taught to be godly. Gladly while we always forsaken ourselves only to ask why after, then resurrect ourselves from the ashes, heal ourselves and others at the same time, be Lazarus and the hands that touched him. Ain't that God-like? To take on all that burden and still this black don't crack. Is this black too unapologetic for judgment day? Am I invited to judgment day? Or is it a white-only party? White Jesus, how do you feel about parties? Who you vote for? Your favorite color red? Like Republican red or blood red? Don't the Bible believe when you talk, you still talk much? White Jesus, what you gonna say for yourself? What you say in the mirror? What's your daily affirmation? Does it have the words conquer in it? You tell yourself to Jesus? You still lying to yourself, white Jesus? You still lying to us? It's called Ave Maria. Ave Maria. I screamed your name and you didn't seem to call back to me. Ave Maria. I wonder, how long do I have to hold this rosary in my palms for you to see me? Pene de gracia. It's grace only for the blue-eyed boys. Do these black eyes remind you of the Israelites that stole him from you? If so, I will humbly turn myself into Lucia and present my eyes on a platter for you. You senora e conte. But I still struggle to hear the Lord's voice over the storm, so how will you be with me to say benedicte pro le donne? I've been surrounded by women, but blessed is not we. E benedetto e frutto del tuo seno. Is our womb not sweet? Do we not also birth martyrs for a cause bigger than themselves, Jesus? Did he hear me, Jesus? Will he hear me? Santa Maria, Madre de Dio, why have you forsaken me? Turn deaf to my prayer when I am more than in need. Pega non pectore. Is my sin not clear enough for salvation? Is the prayer only worthy when the hands are not callous and no trauma lies there? Prega non pectore. My sin will never be pretty enough for your image. I thought you were the mother of mercy. To thee do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. Do you not hear us? I am asking you to save me. Adesso, e non ora e non noscimento. Ave Maria, pene de gracia. E Signore e con te, tu sei benedetto e le donne. E benedetto e le tue donne. Santa Maria, Madre di Dio, pene de gracia. Adesso.
I slipped from reality and flipped into a dream, and you were sewing at the seams, and it seemed like the seam we had crossed through left me to leave everything to you. Soon sewn shut and trapped in this gleam-like state, my hands meddling in your fate, and my fate in your hands. And you had a plan for me, just not with me. I wasn't ready, but I never did realize that I was transparent. So tell me how I feel about you now. It's possession. Magnificent, magnificent the one who holds it. A ghost, a toast to love. Spoken through whispers, hidden in the walls. Your face makes out in the shadows. It's always you who appears in the crowd. Just not as loud, just not as hard. You fall, we fall, I fell in love. It's haunting, taunting me through the windows. A beauty that no one could ever see. A love no one could ever breathe. So choke. Except it's strangling. Murder you wrote. All that remains is the soul. Haunted by the truth you wrote. A love I could never make so. Struck by a force no man could stop. And the only thing that stopped was a suffering heart. Quick. No pain. Just there and not. It's possession. Frightening is the one who holds it. A ghost. The highest toast to the highest. All sun. A story no one hears. A love everyone fears. So run. Except it's controlling. Possession. Lovely as it is, equally devastating to those who seek to hold.
Rise up, black men, but don't speak too loud. They might get intimidated. Rise up, black men, but stay seated because you might get taken as a threat. Black men, don't hold your head up because you might scare off the women. Black men are always told to rise up, but are given requirements to bring them down. So is it really black men rise up, or is it actually black men hide yourselves?
Never put together. Okay, so I wrote this one not too long ago and it was inspired by a book I'm currently reading, Invisible Man, if you've heard of it. and it's called It's on My Skin. They can see it, I know they can see it, and the scratching won't make it go away. I am so nervous. I try to blend into the crowd, but some of them can still see it. I cover my arms and my legs, but they can still see it. They must want me to wear a mask, but if I wear a mask and wrong clothing, I won't see me. But at least they can't see it, right? My genetics, my disease, at least that's what they think it is. I never thought anything was wrong with me until I went out into the world. The hatred I received, the hurt I felt, I thought I was beautiful. They told me I wasn't worth a dime. They said it would spread to my brain, affecting my walk, my talk, and even my opinions and mental stability. It even affected my IQ, they told me. It would be small. I wouldn't get jobs. I was so nervous. They said it was already in my skin, in my hair, and my facial features. They knew it wasn't contagious, but they still banned me from playing with their kids. They called me mean names and said I wasn't good enough. There was no mask that could cover my bloodline, no mask that could shield my ancestors. Had I done them wrong by trying to hide and conform? But I had to, for the job interviews and the first impressions. But what if they found out? They wouldn't accept me. I was already an outcast, assumed to use drugs and get thrown in jail young. I wanted to prove them wrong. I didn't want to wear long clothes to cover my disease. I wanted to be free. It seemed like the fight to be free had been going on for centuries. My disease was my oppression. I think the real disease was believing the lies they had told me. I think the real disease was not continuing to see my beauty even though they told me otherwise. The real disease was in the minds of people stuck in their ways, the small-minded people trained to keep me down. My disease that they preached was no disease at all. Yet, it set me aside and made me stand out. It was my successes, and it made them greater because every single one of them came with a struggle. It was no disease. It was my triumph.
All right, I wrote the next poem. This poem is called Prosper. Prosper never spoke to my ears, though I listened for its anticipated arrival, its promise of true happiness, of everlasting content and bliss, and those who spoke of it were never granted. Prosper is a farmer's harvest after seasons of labor. Prosper is the fruit risen from the seeds which you curse rotten. Prosper is that of the world, a possession, a spirit, raises spirits in times of misfortune, excites the pockets and wallets of beggars and kings. The demons and angels speak of prosper. In an eternal argument, I listen, my ears cast in purgatory.
My package must read, best if consumed by, best if abused by, best if used by. Picking me up and setting me down, turning me over and putting me down, looking at the black, beneath my, sorry, I got stuck. Come on, you're distracting me. My package must read, best if consumed by, best if abused by, best if used by. Picking me up and setting me down, turning me over and putting me down, looking at the color to decide my freshness, forgetting the red beneath my black and holding me back, constantly forgetting that black don't crack. Comparing me constantly to the image of the perfect cut. I am my package hoping to make the cut, but people walk up and down the aisles, putting value on the meat of our arms and legs and disregard the contents inside of our head. My contents are sold and traded when I was promised that my package would be open so I could breathe and my blood could run red. Flow red with light. Alright, so I will welcome back up Alyssa, followed by Zeke, and then Corey and Ms. Kaden will close us home.
Yelling between the tears, between your ears, nothing gets. You get nothing. I get sore throat and red cheeks, attempting to fill the deafening silence, because when I stop, that's all that remains. The thousands of echoes of what you call misinterpreted memories. Silence, the canvas I allow you to paint on, but you have no paint, and our silence is dark. I paint red fury onto a black canvas just to find out you're colorblind anyways. Equipped with soundproof glass so you don't have to hear the pain I've felt. I paint the image for you to tell me that it's bleak instead of apologizing for your shortcomings. Admit you were wrong. I beg you to paint with me. I pick up a brush. You lead me on to tell me this isn't a brush and this isn't a painting. Trying to convince me what my eyes see is wrong, but you can't see this picture that I've painted, and that is all I wanted from you. And it's called Ashtray. You are a forgettable person. From unkept promises, hiding secrets, infidelity, and holes in your stories. The holes burn almost like the circle of trust you burned into my arm with an unforgiving cigar butt. Flicked away when you're finished, drawing the life from it and breathing out the rest, directly in my face. Laughs in the gas, smiles in the pain. You want me to laugh too, but what you puff out isn't laughing gas, and this isn't happiness. This is broken glass and torn fabric, the things you apologize for later when you sit in your chair and tell me you love me. You love me like how you love those cigars, drawing life from them and puffing out the unwanted bits, and then discarded it with a flick of the finger. It's that easy to you. I fill your lungs like poison. I am poison for you just as much as you are for me. Yet you still light me up, rest your lips on me, and suck the life from my body. Then toss me into the tray of ash, the tray of unkept promises, secrets, infidelity, and holes in your stories.
This is my last time coming around, so I did not write this poem. This poem is called Just Breathe by Daryl Henry. Breathe like it's your first time or your last. Breathe like you just got an A in class and you haven't studied all year, so you don't know how you pass. Inhale, exhale, gasp. Breathe like it's 5 p.m. Friday afternoon, like you're 7 years old sitting in front of your television watching Saturday cartoons. Breathe like a newborn, fresh from your mother's womb. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe like your favorite team just won the big game. Like the girl you had a crush on actually knows your name. Breathe like the guy you're behind feels the same. Like you never again feel pain. Breathe like the sun just parted the rain. Breathe like the whole world has gone crazy and you're the only one left sane. Breathe like every other day is a holiday and the day before that is payday. Breathe like your son just came home from war. Breathe like your 12-year-old kidnapped daughter just came walking through the front door. Breathe like you don't know what stress is. Breathe like you did when all you wanted to do was what the big kids did. Breathe like it's the last day of school. Breathe like you worked for 65 years and you're retiring to your pool. Breathe like your family and your word is all you got. Like you must hit the bullseye and only have one shot. Breathe like you just survived the Holocaust. Breathe like the only religion that matters is being a human being. Breathe like you would if society followed. Breathe like you would if it was your first time or even your last.
Okay, so I wrote this a while back. About a year or two ago, I had a nervous project of mine that I kind of wrote, like a full book, so it doesn't exactly have a name like after them. So it's 49. I wish that I could give you my pain for one day. I don't want you to suffer. I'm not that bitter. Only for you to finally understand everything that you put me through. I promise it's my last time up here with these angry, passion-driven folks.
Okay.
We love them.
Thank you. I don't have a name for this one yet. I'll figure it out when I get there. Countless lists to organize countless tasks. Life continues to beg for more as I struggle to keep my feet upon the ground, and as I am struggling to keep my chest expanding with the cold air of this dreadful autumn season. Complaining of life's torments, though it is I who trap myself into this box, just big enough so I am able to breathe, but too small for me to stretch out and allow myself to be comfortable. I built myself into a box of my own responsibilities, and as the walls seem to get smaller, if it even be so possible, it takes close to what is left of the oxygen I wish I also didn't have an obligation to. Life seems to consist of obligations that might as well be the ball and chain that keeps me close to the ground, the earth, the rocks that have beaten my feet until broken bones made it impossible to keep walking. I crawl feebly through my tasks and grasp for air when the opportunity presents itself, then feel nothing but guilt because my selfish breath of air has made my box smaller and deprived me from my ability to breathe. The thing that was once binding an obligation has now become a desire that is gone, as things usually present themselves to be. The life leaves my body as I decompose in the coffin I built for myself. I long for life again, the obligation I once complained about, life, I now long for. The defined irony in escaping what is believed to be the troubles, but what is actually keeping you from digging your own grave 6 feet under. I wish to escape my obligations, but escaping them caused me to take my own life without intentions to do so. In my coffin, there is no room for air because there is no need for it. I insisted on taking a breath with knowing it could take my life, and insisted on doing it anyways. Teenage rebellion is what they'll say, never blaming the system and the hypocrisy. I wouldn't have made this box if I felt it wasn't necessary, and when I realized I made the box too small, it was now identified as my coffin. I made my bed, and now I must lie in it, forever, never being able to go back to the times I missed, the years I spent fearing falling into the pit of poverty of our nation, pushing myself, building my 4 walls, thinking I was building a home upon my foundation, when in reality, I was building my coffin, focusing on the obligations and not enjoying the rest when they were available to me.
Back up, but before he does, I want to introduce you guys. I invited out one of my tutors, Ms. Barone, who would like to share a couple pieces, and then Ms. Howard is going to close us out, if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah.
I came from a small school because it's an awesome opportunity for me. This is a poem by Jason Reynolds for his book, A Long Way Down. It's called The Sadness. The sadness, it's just so hard to explain. Imagine waking up and someone, a stranger, got you strapped down, got pliers shoved into your mouth, driven a tooth somewhere in the back of the big important ones, and rips it out. Imagine the knocking in your head, the pressure pushing through your ears, the blood pooling. But the worst part, the absolute worst part, is the constant slipping of your tongue into the new empty space where you know the tooth is supposed to be, but ain't no more.
Should I get on my knees and pray to you, beg to you like all my brothers and sisters have done? Will you do for me what you did for them? Shall I tell you all that I have done and just hope that you are listening? Are you up there? Can you even hear me? Because as much as I shout, as cry and plead, you seem to be deaf to my pain. I just want answers. I just need answers. Answer me. And I hear nothing. What does it take for you to do to listen to me? How long shall I plead to you, believe in you, leave all my hopes and dreams to you? Are you even up there? Do you even care? You let them fade away into obscurity. Is that what you'll do to me? God, are you even listening?
This is my last poem of the night. But before I go, got a special thanks to a couple people in the room. First, thanks to my mom, because if she didn't make me get up and come to school every day, I definitely wouldn't be here. Thanks to Uncle Glenn, and thanks to Leah and Danielle, and my sister India, and my favorite teacher, one of my favorite teachers, Mr. Inslee, Miss Bird, and Miss Howard.
Which one?
Pick one now.
You don't have to say my name, it's okay.
Of course, to my main poetry motivations, those guys. Especially Brendan and Corey.
Yeah, boy.
They have some of the best poetry I've ever heard. All right. This is called Generation. This generation is a strong implication of ignorance. The world's getting dark and no one's lighting the spark to keep the flame going. Our president is a racist who makes fun of challenged kids and doesn't support his nation. The young are just as damaged. People turning on one another over hair or fake shoes. They struggle so you laugh. The world's got sad. We're all depressed, so why laugh? Don't laugh. Turn to someone and ask how was your day. Is it that hard to ask? People are so bitter, so quick to laugh. They say make America great. Man, forget that. Forget that flag. Make it great. It was never great, especially for blacks. Now, before you say, oh, here he go with the equality crap, forget that. It's not about equality. It's about us black. It's about us. Black on black crime. Is it what's become of us? It shouldn't take a black man being shot by a white man for you to put down the Glock. Take a look at the clock. It's ticking, and this is life's all we got. Women want equality, give it to them. They don't seek to be better than men. Why does man got to spin every problem they present? Now, women, before you treat equality, stop tearing each other down, cracking on her because her electricity went out. No wonder why she frowns. Man, the sky's falling down, and I swear we'll be the last generation if we don't turn our act around. Take the time to listen to your elders. Education is power, and it's even stronger when you're bewildered. Wake up. The world's a hard place, and we're taught life is hard because we don't know any other way. But life doesn't have to be that way. If we stick together, we will all find a way. Sure, opinions change, but you don't have to destroy the world just to make us see your way. Just learn to appreciate the world's change. And man, all people acting the same, believe same interests, who would want to live that way? We're all made different, but this is our life, and we must live it. We must live every day to the fullest. Look at everything as a learning opportunity. You don't have to agree, but we must change. Change is beautiful in so many ways. Take some time out your day, make a change. Let's let the world change and watch the hurt go away.
To whom do you think you're speaking with? Because prior encounters were not conducted in such a manner. Your actions retain very unnecessary aggressive undertones that would imply that you would like for me to act unpleasantly. My previous actions wouldn't cause for recourse. And in attempting to drain my patience, you misunderstood my talk for meaningful weaknesses. Nothing refers to how I was raised, my personality, or my genetics would allow for the assumption that I am to be trifled with. In recent history, I've had instances of individuals making unexpected disrespectful comments toward me. And actually, I'm quite sick of this, because my words always seem to get lost in translations. Y'all stay misinterpreting stuff. Re-choreograph sound waves that a white woman can barely hear. Open your ears, Becky, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? It's a constant occurrence. So I dart my eyes to the side and prepare the code switch. Let me pull out my thesaurus, speaking in an Anglophone voice that my first grade teacher taught me, and my mother tried to rip out of my throat again this thesaurus. Let's just say I had to learn the hard way that I needed to switch my tongues, you see. Where I come from, talking with their elitist vernacular is plausibility to get you clipped. You'll get popped talking proper in my neighborhood. Like you too good for the hood that raised you. Yoked you by your throat to let you know I'll always be there in the back of your black tongue, but my tongue doesn't roll. It tills soil, like my grandmother's did. It screams, I thought I was human too while getting attacked. Changing those 2s and 3s to 1s and 0s, because white people love binary codes. Love things that fit into slots easily. Ain't got no time for configuration. Y'all lazy. Too busy ruling the world because they czars and stuff. But you sure love French. A tongue so different that it's classical. Like Ebonics ain't music. Repetitive terms spew out like ums and twats. And I bet you got that. Ooh, okay.